evading the question.
No, I'm asking the questions here,
You're
Mr.
evading
Kennedy.
that question.
I'm asking the questions,
I
Mr.
asked you a
Kennedy.
question.
I'm asking the questions.
Up tonight on NonStop Local, a heated exchange today on Capitol Hill. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. pressed on vaccine policies in the CDC shakeup, why some senators are calling for his resignation. Plus, a local domestic violence shelter says demand for its services is surging up nearly 80%, and more survivors are turning to them for help. But first, smoke and haze settling in across the Treasure State. We're breaking down the impacting air quality and how long it could stick around. NonStop Local, we start right now.
And Mark Hakel, bringing you the content that connects our community. You're watching NonStop Local Montana at 5.
Well, good Thursday evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight right here on NonStop Local. I'm Ben Wyman, and tonight we begin with air quality across the state of Montana. Conditions are still listed as acceptable tonight, but sensitive groups may start to notice some health impacts. Let's show you some of the air pollution map right now. This is courtesy of the Montana DEQ website. And as you can see, yellow dots all across the state today, meaning moderate levels of concern. Officials say those unusually sensitive to air pollution should keep a close eye on their health and might need to limit vigorous outdoor activities until conditions improve. And so let's begin tonight with meteorologist Mark Hakel joining us this evening. I feel like this is something, Mark, we kind of get in like July and August. Doesn't usually bleed into the month of September.
And I'm going to paint it red, at least in Missoula. It's horrendous out there right now. This reminds me of the year 2000 and then 2003. Smoke was so awful. We had horrible fire seasons.
Let's hope we can finally take deep breaths collectively in the next couple days.
I do have some good news, and I'll talk about that later in my regular weathercast.
Awesome.
But good evening, everyone. Yeah, it's really bad out there. Like I said, it's about the worst I've seen it in Missoula in many years. Let's take a look and see. Look at this. I mean, there are mountains there. You can kind of see the shadows of them. But poor air quality, not only Missoula, but a good part of Montana. But I do have good news, and I'll get to the future tracker, smoke tracker, in a few minutes. But right now, we are, I wanted to take a look into central Montana too. Again, you can't see past just the foreground because of the smoke. We do have air quality alerts for west central and southwest Montana through tomorrow morning. That includes Dillon, Deer Lodge, places like Seeley Lake, Missoula, Hamilton, on up into Plains, St. Regis, and Thompson Falls. Temperatures, we are still a state divided. Autumn-like east of the divide. Wow, 61 Cutbank, 67 Billings, 68 Glasgow. It's cooler today in Missoula because of the smoke, but still above normal. We ought to be in the 70s. 82 in Missoula, 96 out in Lewiston. We have wind advisories for the Flathead, Mission Valleys, 40-mile-per-hour gusts. For Fort Peck Lake in northeast Montana, 45-mile-per-hour gusts. Sheridan County in northeast Montana, a warning, and right now sustained winds, 30 miles per hour in Glasgow and in Glendive. Look at that, howling out of the northwest at 40 miles per hour in Glasgow and out of the east, southeast, northeast, I should say, in the Missoula area. So again, I have a lot to talk about, but I do have good news regarding that air quality. I'll have my forecast coming up.
Looking forward to it, Mark. Thank you very much. Crime Tracker alert for you tonight out of Gallatin County. Deputies are looking for a suspect after an assault happened at Hyalite Reservoir. It happened shortly after 10 o'clock in the evening Monday near the dam restrooms. Investigators tell us a man came up behind a woman in the dark. She deployed pepper spray and he took off. Drones and canines sweeping the area, but no arrests were made. And now Gallatin County deputies asking for your help. They're looking for a middle-aged white male with curly or wavy auburn hair and a slender build. A potential vehicle of the suspect described as a late model Dodge pickup, faded blue or green with a rusted out box. He also might be with a dog, possibly a pointer, wearing a red collar. Folks, if you recognize any of those details or you saw anything that night, please contact the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office, their Detective Division. You see the number right there, 406-582-2121. And during this time, deputies are urging people recreating at Hyalite just to travel in groups and stay aware of your surroundings. And deputies in Carbon County tonight continuing to warn people about fraudulent text messages claiming that you might have won money in the Powerball lottery. The Sheriff's Office tells us, folks, if you get a text like this, do not call any number listed and then don't give out any personal information. Scammers can use it to steal your money. And if you receive one of those messages, report it to the Carbon County Sheriff's Office. You see the number right there, 406-446-1234. And in Ravalli County, another scam warning this evening. The Sheriff's Office tells us they've taken multiple calls about people impersonating their deputies. So here's how it works. A caller claims to be a sergeant or other officials with the Sheriff's Office, saying a family member is in the detention center and fees need to be paid. They'll even ask for bail or monitoring fees through apps like Cash App or Venmo. A reminder, folks, the Sheriff's Office will never ask you for payment over the phone or through third-party apps. If you get a call like this, hang up and contact the Sheriff's Office directly, 406-375-4060. In depth tonight, early economic data for the month of August is not painting the best picture of our overall economy. New metrics released today showed that private sector businesses have sharply declined in hiring last month. Payroll company ADP's report shows they added only about half the number of jobs as they did in July. The Labor Department reports first-time claims for unemployment benefits also rose to an 11-week high. And last month was the worst August for layoff announcements since the Great Recession of the late 2000s. The latest job data tees up an August jobs report that, when released tomorrow morning, is expected to show another month of lukewarm job gains. And let's compare the state of the U.S. economy to what's happening locally here in the Treasure State. According to the Montana Department of Labor and Industry, the U.S. unemployment rate currently sits at 4.2%. Here in Montana, that number sits at 2.8%. And while the unemployment rates differ, the U.S. is actually seeing more job growth. From July of last year to July of this year, employment rose by 1.1% in the United States. During that same time period, employment numbers declined by 0.7% here in the Treasure State. So for a closer look, join us tonight at 6:30. We'll use our 360 lens to dive into Montana's unemployment challenges and show you how one local school is using modern technology to try to tackle that issue head on. Beyond the big sky tonight, a heated exchange on Capitol Hill today. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. grilled by U.S. senators over his handling of the CDC and his controversial vaccine policies. Kennedy defended his decision to fire top CDC officials, saying the shakeup was necessary. But lawmakers, to be clear, from both parties criticizing him for limiting vaccine access for children and pregnant women and for dismantling long-standing advisory panels. One of the most heated discussions involved COVID vaccine boosters.
I'm not taking them away from people, Senator.
It takes it away if you can't get it from your pharmacist.
Well, most Americans are going to be able to get it from their pharmacy for free. Most Americans will be able to get it from their pharmacy for free.
The question is, everyone who wants it, that was your promise.
No, I didn't. I never promised that I was going to recommend products with which there is no indication.
Back and forth you could see happened all day today in that hearing. Democrats calling his leadership, quote, reckless disregard for science. Some even demanding that Kennedy step down.
You are a hazard to the health of the American people. I think that you ought to resign.
And folks, as all this unfolded on Capitol Hill, Governor Greg Gianforte here in Montana has written a letter to RFK Jr. in hopes of getting a waiver approved for Montana to allow DPHHS to implement new requirements on Medicaid. How this could impact you folks, we'll have that story coming up tonight at 6. Well, domestic violence rates here in the Treasure State, they are just unfortunately headed in the wrong direction. That's according to health officials out of Gallatin County, where our Michael Teeple reports tonight the need for victim services is up nearly 80%.
The Haven Shelter is an important space here in Bozeman. Not only is it the only nonprofit organization in Gallatin County serving survivors of domestic violence, sex trafficking, and stalking, but it provides community members the chance to begin again. I spoke with the executive director of the Haven Shelter, Katie Madison, who says it's a community-driven effort in helping survivors of domestic violence find a new path forward.
So really, the movement to try to support survivors started at kitchen tables. It started with neighbors helping neighbors, recognizing that they were in situations that were dangerous and trying to help get them to a safe space.
One of the most important details to note about the Haven Shelter is the sense of safety and security it provides, evident in its facility use.
77% is an increase in bed nights. So So that's number of shelter nights that we have provided to survivors. And that's important because we're seeing the need increase. We are breaking records regularly.
According to the Montana Department of Crime Control, Gallatin County has seen a 17% increase in domestic violence-related crime since 2021. Not only that, but according to the Montana Domestic Violence Fatality Review, many victims of domestic violence do not seek out shelter space or report to law enforcement. While a rise in domestic violence cases may be alarming, Haven has nonetheless been able to provide a record-breaking percentage of care in the midst of violence.
Yeah, so we've actually seen a 23% increase in participants reaching out to us through the support line, so both numbers of people and numbers of phone calls.
If you or someone you know is experiencing signs of domestic violence, sex trafficking, or stalking, you are encouraged to reach out. The National Domestic Violence Hotline can be reached at 1-800-799-7233. Reporting in Bozeman, I'm Michael Teeple, NonStop Local.
Michael, thank you. Moving on now, electricity prices, they are surging more than twice as fast as the rate of inflation. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, prices have climbed 5.5% over the last year. One reason for that hike, the power needed for massive data centers that are fueling that artificial intelligence boom. Some areas of the country are seeing much higher prices. People living in places like Maine or New Jersey paying about 25% more for electricity. States closer to us, like Wyoming and Utah, their residents seeing a 15% increase. Research shows that about 1 in 6 households are behind paying their energy bills, collectively $24 billion in outstanding utility debt. And in Frenchtown, Montana tonight, new information as concerns about contamination at the old Smurfit Stone Mill site are back in the spotlight this evening. Neighbors in the area want answers about what's still in their soil and in their water and how it could be impacting the legendary Clark Fork River. The Community Advisory Group hosting its monthly meeting at the Frenchtown Fire Station tonight. An environmental consultant hired by the companies responsible for the cleanup will present findings. Expected topics include whether toxic chemicals like arsenic, chromium, and PCBs are still moving into the river, as well as the adequacy of testing and the ongoing flood risks. Residents also want to know when the fish consumption advisory could be lifted. Tonight's meeting starts in about an hour at 6 o'clock, open both in person and on Zoom. Our Ethan Jambil will have his full report tonight. And folks, let's talk travel news tonight. If you're hoping to get that last summer vacation in, flying out of Missoula currently, it's just not an option. Runway renovations taking place until this coming Sunday. But how does the rest of the state of Montana plan to renovate one of their most important pieces of pavement? Ian Ivano joining us from the tarmac this evening with the story.
Well, for Missoula's airport, runway work being done behind me. What's the case for other Montana airports? This is still top of mind, but with that date, a little bit more in the future. For the Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport, the last renovation was about 8 years ago, with the next major runway rehabilitation expected to be in 2034. And between now and then, they'll spend nearly $50 million to widen their parallel runway to ease the load for commercial planes.
We're working toward having that second runway capable of relieving the pressure when we're basically working on what is currently our main runways.
How about the Billings-Logan International Airport? The plan is for 2029 runway renovations, but looking at pavement improvements starts as soon as now.
Right now, until about at least Friday, September 19th, our big runway for the air carriers is closed from 12:15 in the morning to 4:30 in the morning.
The brief early morning closure for Billings isn't an issue, as they still have plenty of other runway space for other planes. In Missoula, it's day 2 of a 127-hour closure. Right now, work's being done inside as well. Bathroom cleaning, training with local bomb squads and law enforcement for potential emergencies, and even services like UPS Mail actually being shuttled to Hamilton instead of Missoula.
So flights during this period never actually went out for sale. So no one had to be rebooked, no one was rescheduled. There just simply weren't flights available during this time period. But you'll see this periodically over the years from around the state airports. We've got to make sure that our runway is the safest piece of pavement on the airport.
For Missoula's airports, departures and arrivals will be back this Sunday, so this tarmac expected to be a little bit busier. Right now, the work focuses on improvements here on the runway and inside with other Montana airports also thinking about this for the future. Reporting from Missoula, Ian Alvano, NonStop Local.
Ian, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Folks, we're just getting started here on this Thursday evening on NonStop Local. After the break, we'll send things back out to meteorologist Mark Keiko with a check-in on the local forecast. Game day forecast coming your way for both the Cats and the Grizz games. And plus, speaking of sports, a reminder for you to tune in tonight. Thursday night football happening on SWX Montana statewide. We're going to be live from Missoula. We're bringing you the CMR Rustlers taking on the Sentinel Spartans. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock tonight. You can watch all the action live only on SWX. Visit nonstoplocalsports.com for your updated channel recommendations. We'll be right back after the break.
The new SWX app is here. Download at Google Play or the Apple Store.